What's going on, people? It's your boy Young CANTU coming in for Airshow Sports. Thanks for tuning in for another edition of our live streams. Today we're going to be talking about the highly anticipated rematch between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. A fight that's slated to take place, I believe, February 22nd in Las Vegas. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm your boy Young CANTU, video reporter, currently with FightHype.com, and I also do independent journalism and reporting for Airshow Sports. I'm going to grad school right now at the University of the Incarnate Word in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm pretty knowledgeable about the game. I've been reporting this sport for about 3 years now, and I'm so pumped for this fight. Deontay Wilder coming in 42-0 with 41 knockouts, 1 draw. Tyson Fury and Stavern are the only two to survive a full 12 against Deontay. Tyson Fury coming in at 29-0-1 with 20 KOs. He stopped his last 2 opponents, and it's going to be a great fight. I can't wait for it. So much to talk about, but to get this started, I'm actually going to hit up one of my good buddies in the game. His name is Max from Max Boxing. I'm going to give him a call right now. I told him we're going to go live, and I'd give him a call so we could talk about this fight. So let me holler at Max right now. Deontay Wilder, one of the most devastating punchers in boxing history. If he knocks out Tyson Fury, one of the most slick boxers in the heavyweight division, there's no way he won't go down as the most devastating puncher in boxing history.
Hey, what's going on, Aaron? Good to hear from you.
Hey, what's up, Max? How you doing?
Doing well. I'm more than happy to talk about this fight. Great way to start the year.
Good deal, man. Well, I got you on live right now, and I thought it was an interesting topic, especially with it being one of the most anticipated fights to start 2020. I'm going to give you the floor, Max. If you want to shout out who you are, your social media, that's cool, and then jump right to it. You can go anywhere with this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for giving me the forum. I'm Max Warren from MaxBoxing.com. Most recently, I published an article about my 5 favorite moments of this past year, which include Devin Haney's knockout of Moran. Number 4 was Errol Spence versus Sean Porter delivering. Number 3, that's actually where Aaron Cantu and I really hit it off. Tony Harrison, Jamel Charlo.
Oh, wow.
The entire rivalry between the two. I actually thought that it was a very notable part of 2019. We don't really have any genuine boxing rivalries nowadays. Most of it's just promotion. But you could tell that even when the fight was over, both men had true distaste for one another. Number 2 was Manny Pacquiao defeating Keith Thurman. Just a rarity. We get to see a guy be world champion, world titleist in 4 separate decades. That's unprecedented, and that'll never happen again. There's no doubt about that. And he beat a welterweight in his physical prime, and Keith Thurman promised to end Manny Pacquiao's career. And Manny Pacquiao definitely did not allow that to happen. Number 1 for me was Andrew Ruiz upsetting and knocking out Anthony Joshua. Things like that just don't happen. And Andrew Ruiz did something that you'd see out of a boxing movie. But look, we came here to talk about the fight, Wilder Fury, as you said, Aaron. It's on February 22nd. And what a way to start the year. And what that really goes to show you is PBC and Top Rank, they can work together. Big fights can be made. So that definitely gives me a lot of optimism that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence could eventually fight each other down the road, and hopefully in the not-too-distant future. But I think the main story going into this fight is Fury's cut, that big cut that opened up when he fought Otto Wallin. Mm-hmm. And that cut wasn't just a cut that was an accidental headbutt. It was from a legitimate punch. And I feel like Wilder will be able to take advantage of that vulnerability that Fury will have in that fight, because that is the kind of cut that a fighter usually doesn't recover well from. You notice guys like Miguel Cotto, he had that terrible cut against Antonio Margarito, and you saw throughout the rest of his career, his face would get cut up very easily.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about Tyson Fury is he always seems to rise to the occasion and figure it out. He figured it out against Vladimir Klitschko, and he even figured it out against Deontay Wilder, and he was in terrible shape. He had to lose a tremendous amount of weight just in order to be in fighting shape, and somehow it ended up working out. But yeah, I'd definitely like to hear about your opinions, who you think is going to win the fight, and how you see it playing out.
Yeah, Max, you bring up some great, interesting points. Obviously, Tyson Fury's cut over, I believe it was his right eye. Wallen caught him with a short left hand inside, and it was a fight that a lot of people felt, Tyson Fury wasn't supposed to have a lot of trouble with. So if the way I look at it, Max, is this. You look at Deontay Wilder's his two last performances, obviously sensational. He was getting outworked and outboxed by Luis Ortiz, but in hindsight, a lot of people have said Wilder was kind of just being patient and waiting for that one, equalizing punch that he always comes through with. If you compare his last two fights to Tyson Fury's last two fights, obviously, there's a discrepancy on the level of opposition as well as the level of performance. Tyson Fury put on a nice performance against Schwartz, but that was a guy who was out of his league. So I'm looking at it from a momentum standpoint. Deontay Wilder is riding high big time after his first round knockout of the year against Dominic Breazeale. So you got two guys coming into this fight who are highly motivated and extremely confident.
Not only did he have that sensational knockout of Dominic Breazeale, the knockout of Luis Ortiz could probably be a KO of the year contender as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Actually, the Ortiz knockout was the most recent. I got that one mixed up, but both of them were devastating, and you got to believe Wilder is so confident in himself, knowing that he's put Fury down. He's going to get an opportunity for 36 minutes to catch him at least one more time, and that's what I'm looking at. And I want to see, is Tyson Fury, is he going to be more agile in this fight? Now he's been in the game. Is he going to be able to box at a different level than he did the first fight? Because if he does, he's going to put himself in a nice position to win, because we know Wilder has trouble with guys who know how to box, obviously. So those are the things that I'm looking at, Max. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I definitely think that Tyson Fury will come in much better shape than in their first match. That's for sure. And also, he'll probably learn from that mistake that he made in the 12th round, which is stepping back and being in line for that right hand. He'll try and utilize some more lateral movement, use the jab a lot, use his herky, jerky motions, and try to be as tricky and deceptive as possible. And honestly, I don't think he'd be a bad bet, but I do have to say that right after Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder won, and they were going to meet in the ring, immediately after that, I thought that Tyson Fury would win for sure. But as we've discussed, that cut could be absolutely detrimental for its next fight with Tyson Fury and his career moving forward. I mean, we'll just see, but you can see the obvious scarring from that cut, and it's easy to say that a guy like Deontay Wilder will have no problem opening up that cut, especially if a guy like Otto von Lean could do the same thing.
The only thing about that, Max, is Fury's cut was on his right eye, I believe. So that's not necessarily in line for Wilder's right hand. It could be in line for his left hook, as we know Wilder has developed.
Yeah, and we
left
do know
hook.
that Wilder has a great jab as well.
Definitely. So that's a good point, Max, and good way to start the show, man. Anything else you want to kind of spit out before I move on to the next caller? We're going to be talking about this fight consistently over the next month.
Absolutely. It's number one versus number two in the heavyweight division. You rarely get to see something like this. We all wanted Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. Everybody was clamoring for it. But you know what? This is probably an even better matchup. And this is actually for the true lineal heavyweight championship this go around, as both these fighters are the consensus number one and number two picks. And just such a great way to start the year. In 2019, we didn't have any really big number one versus number two matchups within a particular division, and this is just such a great way to start the year off. And you know what? Everybody loves the heavyweight division, from the casual boxing fan, the real boxing fan, and somebody who just sees these two guys. if anyone sees these two guys, they want to see them go in the ring. And, you know, I definitely feel like the action will be worth the price that the fans end up paying for pay-per-view.
Hell yeah, Max. Appreciate you, man. Yeah. Go follow my boy, Max Boxing. He's doing big things in the game. Max will be in touch, man.
Follow me at maxboxing.com. As I told you guys, posted an article last week. It's top 5 most memorable moments of the year. I'm on Twitter at Maxwell C. Warren. Name Maxwell, the letter C, last name Warren, W-A-R-R-E-N. On Instagram at Max C. Warren, the name Max, the letter C, the last name Warren. Yeah, so check my stuff out. And, yeah, my guy Aaron CANTU, he's always up to good things. So you guys are doing a good job watching this video.
Hell yeah. All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man. Stay up. Have a good night.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Peace. That's Max Boxing. My boy Max. I got in touch with him at the Charlo Harrison fight, and I got to watch the fight and press row with him. So that was really cool. And he's a cool dude, good guy, down to earth, knows his boxing. So definitely a good reference, and he kind of broke down a lot of the key things to look out for in this fight, leading up to this fight. Tyson Fury getting a cut in his last fight where a lot of people didn't believe he shouldn't even been in a competitive fight against Wallin. But now he's going to step in with the most destructive puncher in boxing history, Deontay Wilder. And is he going to be able to stay away from the right hand for 12? Now, I got a couple other people that are willing to come into this live stream. I'm going to hit up one of them now. If you follow my channel, you know him. His name's Darius Deactive Harris, and he's up next on the caller list. Professional fighter from Rialto, California.
CANTU.
What's up, Deactive? How you feeling, brother?
I'm good, my brother. How's it going?
Good, man. I got you live right now on Airshow Sports. We're talking Fury versus Wilder, the rematch slated to take place next month. I just had my boy Max Boxing on here. He broke it down in depth. And I'm going to give the floor to you, Deactive. Definitely shout out who you are, your social media. For the people who don't know Deactive, go ahead and let them know. And then you could go anywhere with this conversation, Deactive. Some of the things you're looking for in this big rematch.
Well, my social media, let's shop that off first, is at Deactive_NSG, DACTIVE_NSG. NSG stand for Never Stop Grinding. And as far as that fight go, I just see Deontay filling him out maybe a round or two, and then just catching him. I think it'll be faster than the King Kong situation. I think Deontay's going to catch him early and put him to bed early.
So why Deactive?
I feel like Tyson Fury is damaged good. Like, you know, that last fight he had, he almost got knocked out by that guy. Imagine if Deontay catch him with a shot like that.
And he had a cut open up over his right eye, Deactive.
And if I'm not mistaken, they had to do surgery for that cut and stitch it back up. It might have to even do some like plastic cosmetic surgery, if I'm not mistaken, for that cut, because it was really, really deep.
My question to you, and I asked Max about this because he brought the same thing up, is his cut was over his right eye, so that's not necessarily like a line for Wilder's right hand. Will he still have opportunities to target it and open it up, though? That's my question.
That's a target for Wilder's jab, his left jab. Wilder has a good jab, too. Everybody just thinks about that right hand. He had a sharp jab when he fought Bermain Stabern. That jab was kicking. It's harder to jab with a southpaw. So with Ortiz, he kind of pawed his jab out there. It's harder to jab with a southpaw. But I feel like his jab is going to be on point. And he's going to be jabbing that eye for sure. And once he starts jabbing that eye, and Tyson Fury start looking for that jab, that's when the right hand's going to come.
You know what's funny, Darius? When you say that, that just makes me remember the media workout that Deontay had in Los Angeles a couple years ago before his first fight with Ortiz. That's the day I actually met you, man. We got in touch. And I asked Deontay what he felt was the most underrated thing in his game, and he said it was his jab. And if you look at the first fight, I thought that in spots he was beating Fury to the punch with that quick jab. He's got to be a little bit more active with it.
That knockdown in the 12th round. It was jab, then it was a 1-2-3 right after the jab.
Yeah, man. So that's the jab's going to be key for Wilder. I have a lot of questions about Fury. He didn't show out as he was expected to in his last fight, but do you think Fury's going to come in better shape this time around?
Of course. When you fight Wilder, you're going to be the best shape of your life. You see his last Wilder fight, he went up to Big Bear and he had all type of different strength and conditioning coaches and stuff like that. He's not gonna take whoever that guy, Alan Wilder or whatever. He's not gonna take him as serious as he's gonna take a Deontay Wilder. He probably overlooked him. That's probably why he got the results he got.
Now, Deactive, I know in the past we've talked about this fight and we've talked about how different styles match up with different fighters, and yourself admitted that Tyson Fury's style does pose problems to Deontay Wilder just because of his right.
Tyson style is awkward, jerky like that. That's trouble for any fighter. But Deontay's already fought him before, so this is round 13, not round 1.
So Deactive, the other thing I'm looking at too is, obviously Wilder is been exponentially better in his rematches. He stopped Bermane Stavern in his rematch in the first round. Then he stopped Luis Ortiz 3 rounds earlier than he did in their first fight. So that being said, that gives a little bit of credence to your opinion on it, that he will be able to get Fury out early. I personally don't think it happens like first 3 to 4 rounds. I think it's going to come in the middle rounds, somewhere around 7, 8. That's kind of where I'm leaning with it. But I want to see how good of a shape Tyson Fury comes in and where his head's at, because you're stepping in with the most destructive puncher in boxing history. You got to be mentally and physically prepared if you want to, last 36 minutes, man. It's almost impossible.
Because it only takes 1 month. Like he said, they got to be perfect for 36 minutes. All you got to be perfect for 1 second.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
And then Deactive, last thing, man, is there anything else that you're looking at in this fight? Anything in particular, storyline wise, heading into this fight that you kind of want to address?
I'm gonna bring to people's attention, because a lot of people say when Deontay and Fury fought the first time that Fury's coming off a 2-year layoff, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's negative. I feel like when Fury came back, he got 2 warm-up fights, 2 fights. While Deontay, he only fought Luis Ortiz that year, and he had been resting from March all the way to December. So Tyson Fury, Deontay was coming off layoff. He hadn't fought in like 8 months. Tyson Fury had fought 2 back-to-back camps. That was his 3rd camp that year. So who's really, the pressure fighter at the time? Now, this fight coming around, Deontay is just coming off of back-to-back performances. So we're gonna see the difference now. I feel like Deontay's time is gonna be better, and he's gonna get him out of there quicker.
So you're of the mindset that Deontay is a little bit more on his high horse, the confidence, the momentum, as opposed to
got the momentum. Exactly.
If you look at both fighters' 2 last fights, Fury fought the lower opposition, and obviously
it looked worse.
Yeah, exactly. So I can see where you're saying that, and it kind of puts things into perspective when I think about this fight. But I appreciate your time, Deactive. We're going to be talking about this fight a lot the next month leading up to it. So we'll be in touch, man, and I'll give you a holler next time we go live on this one.
Most definitely, brother. Appreciate you. Shout out to Airshow Sports.
Let's go. Stay
All
up,
right, brother.
Stay up, D.
All right.
That's my boy Darius Deactive Harris, one of the young up-and-coming prospects out of the 154 junior middleweight division. He fights out of Rialto, California. If you watch my channel, you've seen him. He's a strong advocate of clean and fair play in boxing. He's a self-admitted clean fighter who doesn't engage in any type of performance-enhancing drugs, and that is huge in this day and age of sports and boxing, as we know that PEDs have plagued all sports in general. So Deactive is definitely one of those people in the game who has a lot of integrity and fights for what's right. So I really appreciate him coming on the show. He's been a frequent supporter of Airshow, and definitely go check him out if you haven't already. His name's Darius Deactive Harris. Just search Deactive Harris on any type of social media, and you're bound to run into him. Now, we got 2 callers in today to give their opinions and give us some insight on this fight. I think now it's only right that I kind of give my perspective on this rematch. As I said earlier, you look at the 2 performances of both fighters, their 2 last performances. Deontay Wilder stopped Dominic Breazeale early in 2019 in the first round with a devastating 1-punch knockout. He then came back and followed it up with a 7th round knockout of Luis Ortiz, a guy nobody's been wanting to fight, dangerous southpaw, big puncher. And Wilder was getting outboxed and outworked in that fight. But when I watched the fight against Luis Ortiz, it wasn't a situation where like I ever felt anxious or nervous about what was going on in the fight. Like, we saw what was happening. Ortiz was outworking and outboxing Wilder, but I just felt like Wilder was well in hand, even if he wasn't winning rounds. Like, he never looked uncomfortable. He always looked like he was kind of keeping that bazooka in his holster, and then he finally pulled it out at the right time when Ortiz kind of slept a little bit. He kind of got a bit lax, and that's when Wilder caught him. You can't get lax at all. You literally have to be engaged the whole fight to survive Deontay Wilder. It's virtually impossible to stay away from his right hand for 12. So I look at his last 2 performances and I say, Wilder is extremely confident right now. And he's been a guy who's outspoken about unifying the division, one face, one champion, one name. This guy's going to come in ready, man, and he's going to come in to put on a show. The best thing about Deontay Wilder is he's unpredictable. And that's, a lot of people talk smack about his skill and his technique, but his unpredictability is what makes him great. Now, I got a comment from Jamai Khan. It says, I think Fury will outbox Wilder. That one hitter quitter ain't going to work all the time at the highest level. So we got Jamai who thinks that Fury's going to take this one. Now, I will say that I will respond to you by saying Tyson Fury is obviously, I think he's the best boxer in the heavyweight division as far as being able to stick and move, ring generalship, herky-jerky style, awkward. He's an oddity, a guy 6'9" who can move and box the way he does. Anybody who picks Fury, it's not a bad pick, because he showed most of the fight against Wilder the first time that he can outbox him and basically make Wilder miss every time with the right hand. My thing is, Wilder's coming in with a different mindset heading into this fight. He self-admittedly was rushing his right hand in the first fight. This time he's going to come in a little bit more patient, and he's going to channel his chaos, and he's going to take it out on Fury. But it's not out of the realm of possibility for Fury to outbox him and win on the scorecards, because that's basically what he did the first time. Wilder the GOAT, BT, BEZTV. We got a conversation in the chat. Now, Jamai is questioning Wilder's level of opposition, saying that right hand can't work when you raise the level of composition, the level of competition you're in there with. My response to that is Wilder did knock Tyson Fury down twice. What's up, J Mart, my boy J Mart? Yes, sir, bro. My boy J Mart's coming down to San Antonio to come cover the Munguia O'Sullivan fight this upcoming week. It's fight week. Let's get it. But right now we're talking Wilder and Fury, man, and I'm just pumped for this fight because every time Deontay Wilder steps in the ring, he brings excitement, he brings unpredictability, and he brings sensational knockouts. Every time Tyson Fury steps in the ring, he's very boisterous, he's flamboyant, and he always stirs the pot. So you put these two together, you got a mega fight. and a fight that should deliver on pay-per-view this time around. I think the fight did around 300,000 plus the first time. You got to think that that's going to definitely double. And if they promote it right with Fox and ESPN, and they constantly push the narrative of this fight's going to do big numbers. I can't wait for it. I'm definitely going to buy it. My boy Jamar wants to go to the fight, but I think it's tough for me right now to try to make that one. And, I mean, yeah, what do you guys think? We got people in the comment section, one for Wilder, one for Fury. I mean, I can't wait to see. Jamai says he knocked him down twice, but remember, boxing is scored round by round. If you look at it like that, you know, Fury did outbox him most of the fight. Just a great topic to start the year with. It's your boy Young Cantu. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm here live, and we're going to be promoting this fight. This is definitely one of the biggest fights in recent memory, and obviously the biggest fight to start off 2020. Slated to take place February 22nd in Las Vegas. Deontay Wilder trying to retain his WBC crown. I believe the Ring Magazine belt is going to be up for this one as well. My boy Jamar says the fight sells itself. It definitely does, but it's awesome and interesting to hear everybody's take on it, because everybody has their own opinion. You know, a lot of people who are against Deontay Wilder, they just don't believe in his style and his literal strategy to just land one punch. You know, because a guy who is literally in the ring just to land one punch, it should be easy to beat, right? Because he's one-dimensional. See, but that's a common misconception about Deontay Wilder. The man does know how to box. He won a bronze medalist in the Olympics, so he definitely has some ring IQ. It's just different the way he uses it. He uses it to set up the big right hand. He uses it to set up the equalizer that ends fights. So you can't really fault him for how he presents himself in the ring. Obviously, he has a lot of flaws, but it's Tyson Fury's job to expose those flaws. And if Tyson Fury is who we think he is, or who he says he is, the most slick boxer in the heavyweight division, he should be able to do that. I'm pumped for this fight. As you can tell in my voice, we could continue to talk about it. And my boy Max says Wilder is still rated number 2 by most outlets, and that's because Fury did basically outbox him for most of the fight in their initial bout. Jamai says, I always go with the boxer, especially in rematches. I think Fury makes it a boring, one-sided, unanimous decision. Max says, people always wonder, what if he doesn't find the right hand? But he's scored a knockdown in every fight. That's the thing. All these people are quick to be like, oh, Wilder, he only has one punch. That's all he's looking for. Fury's going to outbox him. But at the end of the day, Wilder's put down everybody every single time he stepped in the ring. So, to me, yeah, Fury can be outboxing the whole fight. But he still has to prove that he's going to stay away from the right hand for 36 minutes. And nobody has proven that yet with Deontay Wilder, including Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury arguably won the first fight. If you're going to legitimately score it round by round, those 2 knockdowns were not enough to win the fight. Obviously, Wilder had to pick up a couple other quiet rounds, you know, but even Tyson Fury, like I said, Tyson Fury hasn't stayed away from his right hand for 12. So in this rematch, you know, anything could happen. And in boxing, all it takes is one punch. We learned that from Deontay Wilder. We learned that from Andy Ruiz against Joshua. All it takes is one punch. So many things to talk about with this fight. The cross promotion between Top Rank and PBC. The cross platform with Fox and ESPN. Should make for a huge one, man. I can't wait. 2 big heavyweights fighting for supremacy. The winner of this fight is obviously number 1 in the division. Anthony Joshua is definitely a credible third, but I feel like he's definitely a step behind these two. Like I said, the winner of this fight will claim the number 1 spot in the heavyweight division and will have most of the cards. A lot of people are picking Fury in the comment section. Max asks, can Wilder get knocked down by Fury? What do you think about Sugar Hill Stewart approach, says Ayo. They want to attack Wilder and knock him out. Does it do a million pay-per-view buys? So many things coming in the comment section. Let me start here. Max says, can Wilder knock down Fury? If Fury is a little bit more aggressive and he focuses on developing and strengthening his power shots, he can definitely hurt Deontay Wilder, because we saw him tag Wilder with some nice counters even after he had gotten knocked down in that 12. So I believe Wilder has a great chin. We saw it against Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz had him basically out, but Wilder was able to withstand it. So I think it's highly unlikely that Fury can stop Wilder. That's just my opinion. Now we go to Ayo's question. He says, Sugar Hill Stewart approach. Now, for those who don't know, Tyson Fury just re-linked up with Sugar Hill, a corresponding trainer coming from that Kronk gym atmosphere. So Manuel Stewart, for those who don't know, Fury has gotten some tips and training with him out at Manuel Stewart before he passed. So Sugar Hill is kind of that same lineage of training and preparation. So that definitely tells a lot about the strategy that Fury's going to come with. I'm not too familiar with how Sugar Hill trains his guys, but I feel like he's gonna make Fury box. Like he's gonna obviously tighten up his defensive prowess so he can stay away from the right hand. That's the way I see it. Because with Ben Davison, Fury was knocked down, and that's not a direct correlation. Like Fury was trained by Ben Davison. That doesn't mean that's why he got knocked down. But I mean, Fury is putting himself in a position to succeed. So I don't think it's a bad move by Fury. But I do think that it shows a little bit of desperation, knowing you're going to go in there with the most destructive puncher in boxing history. So that remains to be seen. I think I'm going to do a little bit more research on Sugar Hill to kind of see what styles he likes to implement in the game to kind of give a better perspective on that question. Max asks, does the fight do a million pay-per-view? Now, I said earlier, I think it doubles up. I think it goes to at least 600, which Jamai thinks it does 600K. It did 300,000 in the first fight, so you got to think that's going to double up. But I think a million, if it's promoted correctly, it could get there. But it's got to be overwhelmingly promoted both on Fox and ESPN, and people really got to buy into it. I think there's definitely a chance, but I would lean on doing just under a million. I think if it does anywhere from 600 to 850,000, that's a success for this fight. So that's my opinion. BEZT TV says it's easily going to do a million. And he also says Tyson Fury has no punching power. When was the last time he knocked somebody out? That's true. But the thing about Fury is he doesn't need to knock Wilder out to win. He's just got to pepper him. He's got to pepper him, stick and move, and do what he did in the first fight. Just stay away from the right hand this time. He got a bit laxed in that 9th round, which was the initial knockdown, and then obviously in that 12th. What people don't really talk about is Tyson Fury landed a nice right hand right before he got punched with the right hand in the 12th. He landed a solid right hand on Wilder in that 12th round, and then Wilder just ranged him up, feinted with a jab, and came straight down the pipe with the right hand, and that's how he got caught. But Fury actually landed a solid right hand right before that, and Wilder walked right through it. He ate that shit. So I think it's a stretch to think that Fury's going to knock out Wilder. My boy Max says Fury can get knocked down 3 times and still have a chance to win. I know that's crazy, right? Because if those 3 knockdowns are in, separate rounds, those are 10-8 rounds. But if Fury's outboxing and outworking him the rest of the time, you got to think the judges are they're not going to be, I'm not going to say they're biased in the first fight, but the judge that scored it overwhelming for Wilder, that was a bit of a stretch in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion. So I think Fury's going into this fight a little bit more comfortable knowing that he's represented by Top Rank and Bob Arum. So if it does go to the decision, I think he's going to be a little bit more comfortable with what the outcome of the decision will be, and that's him winning a unanimous decision. And that's the only way I see him winning the fight. I don't see him stopping Wilder. BEZ TV says Tyson Fury won the fight, but he lost the battle because he got knocked out in the 12th. And there's been a lot of controversy about that 12th round knockdown. A lot of people have criticized referee Jack Reese for giving Fury a long count. And I actually ran into Jack Reese after the Charlo fight. I saw him at the hotel bar, ironically, and I talked to him and I told him, I don't think he was wrong. I don't think he was wrong for allowing Fury to continue. Because boxing, you gotta account for, the human factor and the competitive factor. Fury was up. His gloves were off the canvas at 9, and that's what Jack Reese told me. Jack Reese told me, said, as soon as that fighter's gloves are off the canvas and his weight are on both his feet, no knees down, nothing else is on the canvas, then that means that the fighter is up and he's in a position to continue. So that's why you saw Jack Reese ask him, walk over here, walk over there, you're good. Fury was responsive, so he let the fight continue. And I think there's been too much made of the long count in the first fight. I don't think it was. I think it was a fair and square deal. And I'm pro Deontay Wilder, so coming from me, that should put it into perspective. I think Jack Reese, he did a fine job. Now, from the Wilder side, you couldn't make the case that when he knocked him down, the man looked like he was unconscious. So, a lot of people said Wilder knocked him out. I'm of the mindset that Fury got up, continued the fight, and actually showed a lot of heart the rest of the round. So, that being said, you can't really fault Jack Reese. Even if it's slightly close, we'll get a rematch this year. If it's close, Max is saying there'll be a trilogy. Arjun says, look back at Joe Louis versus Max Schmeling 1. That's the same, right? Fury landed all night long. This time it's going to be good night, Vienna Fury. Will TKO Wilder. So Arjun thinks Wilder's going to get knocked out by Fury. That's crazy. Fury's a beast, but the only way he can win is to run for 12. And I agree with that. But he can run, box, move, slip shots, and, still make it like a boxing spectacle. Fury got up and responded to Reese and even outboxed Wilder after getting knocked down. I agree with that. I don't see him stopping Wilder either. The trainer is reaching. If you put pressure on Wilder, you're going to get knocked out, as we saw with Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz was coming to Wilder the whole fight. Yeah, he was landing combinations. He was putting Wilder back on his back foot. But it just goes to show a guy who comes forward is not in the best interest of surviving 12 rounds against the most destructive puncher in boxing history. Jemai says, what do you think about the cut on Fury's eye? Do you think it will open up? It's been an interesting topic so far in this show, is that eye that was cut open in the Otto Wallen fight, Tyson Fury's right eye, has had to be repaired since then. My personal opinion on it, the cut was over the right eye, so it's not necessarily aligned with Wilder's right hand. But my boy Darius Deactive just said, it is aligned for Wilder's jab. So if Wilder does establish a nice, quick, sharp jab, he could target that eye. And I think that's something to look for. But I don't think Wilder should be over fixated with trying to target the eye, because I feel like that'll get him out of his game plan slightly. You know, he's just got to be who he is. But as far as the eye's concerned from Tyson Fury's side, I think Tyson Fury is slick enough to know that that's a vulnerable spot, and he's not going to allow himself to be vulnerable to getting that eye tagged up. If you look at the Otto Wallin fight, the way that he got cut was kind of it was an interesting and kind of awkward punch that Otto Wallin threw. Otto Wallin was coming forward, and just before he clinched him, he threw a short left hand inside. Just before like grappling with him, he caught him with a short left hand, and it caught Fury off guard because Fury didn't have his right hand up. He didn't have his right hand up to block it. And my thing is, that caught Fury so off guard that I think he's aware he can't be irresponsible defensively whatsoever, because if you're getting cut by a guy like Otto Wallin, that's the last thing you want to happen against a guy like Deontay Wilder. Imagine Tyson Fury trying to fight Deontay Wilder with blood gushing out of his eye. Just imagine that. That's not going to bode well for him. So I think it's definitely something you have to note and you have to take into account. But I don't think it's something that Wilder needs to fixate his game plan around, is trying to cut him open. So, I mean, so many things to talk about. What do you think about the cut? I think Fury's got to be careful, but, you know, I think Wilder is going to be a lot more patient in this fight. He's going to be very reminiscent of a lion, just being patient, ready to pounce. It's your boy Young Cantu. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's get those likes up. I appreciate everybody who's coming in to support this live fight, hype, and prediction and breakdown of this mega clash. Last thing, and then I'll close this out. Arjun says, take away the torque and leverage from Deontay Wilder. Okay, there's an uppercut to worry about, but that's the way AJ can beat him. But I think Wilder smokes AJ, but he ain't beating Fury. I don't think Deontay Wilder loses to Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua is tailor-made for Wilder's right hand. Even if Joshua were to box for like 5 or 6 rounds nicely, he's going to get tagged just like Luis Ortiz did. And that's why everybody at this point universally sees Anthony Joshua as the 3rd best heavyweight. He's got to prove to us that he can continue his success that he had against Ruiz in the rematch. And, you know, is he going to continue to show his boxing prowess? Or is he going to go back to being that slugger that everybody knows him as? Either way, I think he gets stopped by Wilder. I think Fury is the only legitimate guy who can beat Wilder. I don't think Wilder loses to anybody else right now. I think Fury is the only guy who really has a chance. And it's styles make fights. His awkwardness, his ability to box. That's what gives Wilder issues. I'm self-admitted to that, and I'm a Deontay Wilder fan. So, you know, I recognize what's going on. I recognize the threat that is amongst Deontay Wilder and his legacy. But this guy is the same guy who's been chasing it his whole career. So he's ready to embrace this moment. There's a lot of questions heading into this. I think there's more questions that need to be posed to Tyson Fury heading into this fight. But all those will be answered next month in Las Vegas. Your boy Young Cantu breaking down this fight. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Coming at you with a live show. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Stay tuned. We're going to be breaking down this fight all month long, leading up to it. It's your boy Young Cantu signing off. Peace.